Now, it hasn't even been a full year since XXXTentacion passed away, but it looks like his influence in the rap game is now starting to come to the surface piece by piece. So recently, these past few months and weeks, there's been a lot of discussions about a couple smaller artists who've been slowly making a name for themselves in hip-hop and gaining a lot of new fans, and all these artists that I'm going to show you in this video sound very similar to X. One of them actually sounds exactly like him, and I think it's time we talk about this, so let's not waste any time and let's talk about the first rapper who goes by the name of Josiah. You might have seen his Crisis music video that he worked on along with Cole Bennett. This song has been getting recommended all over YouTube, and a lot of people have noticed the X influence Josiah seems to carry.
Get the fuck out of my way! Don't give a fuck, think I'm playing!
As you can hear, that sounds very much like X, but obviously this sounds more like the older version and more underground version of him. Everything from Josiah's entire tonality and the way he's delivering those extremely aggressive bars was really what gave it away here.
Nigga running up on me is a mistake. When I'm coming, nigga fucking up the place.
Just like the other two artists I'll be talking about in just a second, it's not a question of if he is influenced by him, he just is. Let's move on to the other rapper I wanted to talk about, and this guy is way more unknown and underground than someone like Josiah, but he goes by the name of Slutty Sony. I've been getting some messages on Instagram about him in regards to this conversation of him being influenced by X, and it is for a good reason because he sounds very much like him.
Vampire with the fangs, head banging till my neck break off, knock the fucker to the pave, for my bitch till my dick fall off. Fuck around and catch a slut, you know my army coming in tough, and if a little fart nigga won't buck, he gon' have to come with enough.
Not only does Slutty Sony sound like X, but he also really looks like him. In this case, I would say him sounding like X and let alone looking like him is definitely not a coincidence. I don't personally think there's anything wrong with being inspired, but I do think he is gonna run into some trouble if he's trying to grow himself as a rapper beyond just the underground. Now, let's move on to the next and last artist who goes by the name of Roly 500. You might have seen my nigga Andante's reaction to this guy. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you, but you are up for a big surprise because this guy literally sounds exactly like X, and I'm really emphasizing exactly here because he sounds exactly like X. You don't believe me? Listen to this right here. I mean, I still can't believe how much he actually sounds like him. It's to the point where I would have to call this a little bit creepy. His voice sounds like a direct copy of X's vocals. I mean, how is this even possible? This is the one artist on here that I don't even know how to feel about because we're not talking about him sounding similar to X. We're talking about if copy and paste was possible in real life and you could do that with another person's voice. Roly 500 would be the definition of just that. Now, what's my overall thoughts on XXXTentacion's influence in relation to these artists? One thing I want to say from the get-go is do not listen to these artists if the only thing you're looking for is to fill the void X left in you. I get it, you are a big fan of X, you miss his presence, you miss hearing his voice, you miss everything about him, but there's actually a real danger in trying to fill that void by purposely searching for his aura in another artist. Me personally, I think it's kind of disrespectful towards X's legacy because that's not something that could even be replicated in the first place. And another thing I want to say here is this definitely will not be the first and last time you see people sounding like him. You gotta realize when X died, he left an extremely big gap in the music industry, which means there are people, companies, other artists who want to take his spot. They want to fill that little spot, that little gap that was left. They want to quote unquote carry his legacy, not because they care about him on an emotional level, but because they want to capitalize off of what he was doing. I'm not accusing any of these artists of doing just that because I don't know their true intentions, but what I am gonna say is if it gets to a point where you start looking like the man, then it is a problem because you're playing into the comparisons on purpose. And really, I don't think that's the way to go if you want to have some kind of long-lasting career in music. But see, you gotta remember, the industry is trying to, or should I say they tried to, because they completely failed, they tried to replicate Lil Peep with Jumix. They bought fake YouTube subscribers for the guy and most likely even bought views. I mean, we live in 2019, that is a possibility. But what do you honestly think is gonna happen to someone like Jumix? Do you think he's honestly gonna have some kind of long-lasting career in the music industry? Absolutely motherfucking not. When you are a replica of another person, you might as well tattoo "I am disposable" on your goddamn forehead because at that point, that's that's exactly what you are. You are not the original. Fuck it. You are not even the Walmart version of what you are trying to create. You are the cousin of the Walmart version. That's how much you are not even in the conversation. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. And just like I said in my The Replication of Lil Peep and XXXTentacion video, link is in the description below just in case you haven't seen that one. But just like I said in that video, don't be surprised when you see multiple XXXTentacion replicas coming out of nowhere. Because in the eyes of the people who are trying to copy him and in the eyes of the labels, the amount of money X left on the table when he passed away is insane. I mean, they're pretty much just fucking getting a boner from seeing all that money. They can smell that money from a mile away, and they know if they try to create another Lil Peep or another XXXTentacion, a lot of people will unfortunately eat that shit up. And unfortunately, what I'm starting to see is a lot of X fans who are blindly supporting anything that even resembles X, which if you really want to do it, then, you know, of course, go ahead and do it. I can't stop you. What I'm gonna say though is just be mindful of what you are supporting. So yeah, in less than a year, XXXTentacion's influence is starting to show. I'm not even surprised I saw this coming from a mile away, and best believe you'll be seeing more of this in the future. Mark my words.